Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 7 stunning summer fragrances to help you beat the heat. So let's jump into it. All right, so today we are talking summer fragrances that are gonna help you get through that high heat, have you smelling fantastic. This is a second list that I've done for summer fragrances this year, but all these fragrances are fairly recent pickups that I've just had a chance to enjoy and I think you all should know about. So links are gonna be down in the description if you decide you wanna check any of these fragrances out. Also have some coupon codes, discount codes, all that jazz. Save yourself $5, 5% at various discounters if you decide you wanna shop with them. So let's quit screwing around and let's get into it. All right, kicking things off, going to the House of Paris Corner with Paris Corner's North Stag 4. Now, if you're looking for a citrus bomb of a fragrance, look no further than North Stag 4. This is a twist on the Louis Vuitton Afternoon Swim. Just a beautiful medley of those orange notes, mandarin orange, Sicilian, you get some bergamot as well as some ginger, but you get everything from that orange. You get the sweetness, the tartness, the zestiness. Oh, just absolutely gorgeous, like bouquet of citrus accords that come through. So you get that sweet touch from the mandarin that comes through, a really juicy, sweet citrus, as well as kind of that zesty peel that comes through, little touches of some tartness coming from that bergamot. It's just absolutely gorgeous. You just get just a plethora of different scent accords just from that single style of orange with that Sicilian and that mandarin coming through. Just absolutely beautiful. As this opens up a little bit more, that fresh spicy ginger comes through and it just kind of elevates those citrus notes, giving it a little bit of a freshness, a little bit of a pop and a zing to it. And just through and through, this is just a fresh, energizing, bright, lively style of fragrance that I absolutely love. Performance on this is pretty good. First hour and a half worth of rejection is decent and about 6 hours off skin, give or take, before this really settles into a skin scent. Bang for your buck. If you really like citrus notes and you enjoy a good orange, look no further than Paris Corner's North Stag 4. All right, next up, going to the house of Ahmed Al Maghribi with Ahmed Al Maghribi's Sapphire. Now, this is a twist of the Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce and a little bit more towards perhaps the Parfums de Marly Percival, and very similar to the Ahmed Al Maghribi's Cough, but there are some differences in this one, and let me tell you all about this one. In this one, you get some red fruits, you get a little bit of lavender, you get some lotus, some lily of the valley, sea accord, sandalwood, white musk, all mixing in here, and it's absolutely classy, smooth, refined style of fragrance. So you get nice red fruits at the top, giving it that fruity sweetness that's there, but you get this nice lotus and lily in the valley, giving it a nice kind of watery touch, a little bit of a greenness that goes on there, mixing it with those sea accords. So it gives you a really kind of fresh, almost aquatic feel, but more kind of a watery feel with that kind of floral greenness that works in. And towards the dry down, you get a nice smooth sandalwood, some nice white musk coming up, just all blending together really nice. Just giving this, like I said, a smooth, classy, kind of refined style of scent DNA. And I absolutely love it. The difference between this one and Cough that I find is you get a little bit more of the red fruits coming through with this one, and it doesn't have the same sharpness that Cough has. Cough is an absolutely nuclear fragrance, and it does have a lot of kind of like sharpness that comes through. It's a little rough around the edges, not in a bad way, but just in terms of how powerful that fragrance is. And I find this one's just a little bit more subdued, a little bit more classy. So if you want to think about Cough as the dude that tears his shirt off and does a cannonball into the pool, Sapphire is kind of the guy that's sitting on the edge drinking a cocktail, just dipping his feet in the water. That's kind of the difference between the two. I hope that makes sense. That was a ridiculous analogy. A little bit more red fruits, a little bit more smooth, refined sort of DNA to it, but it's not as powerful as Cough, but it still gets some good performance off this. So first hour and a half worth of rejection, pretty decent, well beyond an arm's length, and it lasts about 6-7 hours off my skin before it really settles into a skin scent. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more smoothness, a little bit more of that red berry coming through than the Ahmed Al Maghribi Cough, you might want to try this one out. That's Ahmed Al Maghribi's Sapphire. All right, next up, going to the Lattafa Rave series, and it's Rave Royal Supreme Conquer. Now, this fragrance, I looked high and low, and there is no official note breakdown for this one. It's in the neighborhood of the Amouage Search, kind of Dior Homme Sport, similar in that territory or genre. But let me tell you what I get from this fragrance. In the opening, you get a really nice citrus with little pops of some sweetness coming through, kind of a mandarin orange style of sweetness, perhaps a little bit of a pink pepper sweetness, mixing with this lemon and lime. Little touches of some green that come in as well. So it has this like olibanum style of kind of like a little bit of a fruity punch to it, but it has a kind of a nice green fresh spice working in. Mixes really well with those citruses. Has a very kind of masculine, clean, fresh sort of feel to it, but it also has this sweetness in there that's got this kind of flirty allure, this kind of playful edge to it as well. Just an overall really nice fresh summer fragrance with just enough sweetness to kind of make this a little bit on the fun side. Once you get towards the dry down, you get a nice kind of woody base that comes through. Has almost kind of a lemongrass style of woody base with those green notes that sit on top. So this really moves into kind of a gentlemanly territory once you get to the dry down, but it still has that just kiss of that sweetness with those citruses playing in with that kind of lemongrass style of wood. And overall, this is just an excellent fragrance. When I first got my hands on this and wore it a few times, I thought, yeah, this is a nice fragrance, but it was nothing too mind-blowing to me. But when I wore this around my girlfriend, she absolutely loved this one. This is, I think she said this is her second favorite one in my collection. And when I wore it to the office, lots of people were saying I smell fantastic and were asking me what I'm wearing. So a bit of a hidden gem, a bit of a sleeper within the Lattafa series, the Rave series, and I'm really glad I picked this one up. Performance on this projects out pretty good for the first hour and a half before it settles back in, and I get about 6-7 hours worth of longevity off my skin before it really does settle in. Get some on your clothing and you can push it out a little bit further, but overall performance on this is fairly average, maybe a little bit above average, but overall hidden gem fragrance. Really glad I scooped this up and definitely worth checking out. That's Lattafa's Rave Royal Supreme Conquer. All right, next up, going to the house of Halaj with Halaj Blue Spice. Now, this fragrance is a clone or a twist of the Louis Vuitton Imagination, and absolutely fantastic fragrance. Bergamot, tea, neroli, a little touch of some cinnamon in that opening, and a nice fresh spicy ginger that comes through. So in that opening, you get this nice tart bergamot that mixes in with this fresh spicy ginger, this clean neroli that comes through, adds a little bit of a soapy white floral touch to it. And the cinnamon in there mixed with the tea kind of adds this little bit of a warmth to it, a little bit of sweetness, and the tea that's in here just gives it kind of like almost that herbal style of feel that mixes really well with the ginger and bergamot. Just overall really nice kind of soothing, calming, bright style of summer fragrance, and I'm absolutely digging that opening. Once it transitions into the dry down, you get a little bit more kind of some dark woods come through, some rich deep woods, some gaiac, some amber wood, kind of has some wisps of some incense around it, so it has a little touch of some balsamic nature, this deep woody kind of depth that happens to it, and all those centichords just sit on top. That nice soapy neroli sits there. You get those citruses that are still there as well with that nice tea that sits on top, and it just forms this really nice summery style of fragrance. Perfect for the summer evenings, especially because it has that little added touch of the warmth that goes onto it. Just has this kind of sexy, clean, fresh sort of feel, and I'm absolutely digging this one. Performance on this is pretty good, really pushes off for the first hour before it does settle back in, and I get about 6-7 hours worth of longevity off my skin. The ginger in this really pushes off in that first hour, and so you're really going to be forming quite a nice scent bubble, so really pleased with this one. The performance on this is pretty good, and if you're just into a nice, clean, fresh style of fragrance with just a little hint of some woodiness in the base, giving it that masculine boldness, you might want to check this one out. That's Halaj Blue Spice. All right, next up, going to the house of Elwani with Elwani's Lazuli. Now, this is a clone or twist of the Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, and absolutely love the scent DNA of that. This is one of my favorite styles of summer fragrance. Lemon, bergamot, has a nice mandarin orange in there, a little bit of a bitter orange. Again, just a nice medley of citruses that work in there. You get the sweetness of the mandarin, you get that bitter orange that comes through, mixes in with this really nice, soapy, clean style of neroli that's in the mid, and you just get that little bit of a lemon pop that goes in there, just giving it that brightness, that kind of extra shine to it. Just a great, soapy, clean, fresh, invigorating style of fragrance, and I absolutely love it. There is a little bit of an orange flower that's worked in here, so it has a bit of a kind of a floral edge to it that works really well with that neroli. And as you get towards the mid of the dry down, a little bit of an amber comes through, so it gives it a little added sweetness and a little bit of warmth that comes through for those citruses, that clean neroli to sit on top of, and it just forms a really kind of elegant, sophisticated, masculine style of scent DNA, and I just absolutely can't get enough of this one. People are going to ask about the Mesa Alhambra's Porto Neroli, which one of these I prefer. I'm actually leaning towards this one. I really liked the Mesa Alhambra, but I find this one, just the quality of the ingredients in this one are just superior. There's no kind of synthetic kind of citrus aspect to this one. I just find the citruses in the top as well as that neroli just a little bit better, and I'm really enjoying this one. Performance on this is pretty good. I get a good solid hour to an hour and a half worth of projection before it does settle back in, and I'm getting between 6 and 8 hours off my skin. I've worn this in the extreme high heat, and this, like any other fragrance, kind of burns off a little bit quick with those citruses, but I find on the more mild days I can get up to the 8-hour mark. So performance on this, pretty good, I'm pretty pleased, and the scent profile on this, absolutely gorgeous, definitely worth checking out. That's Elwani Lazuli. All right, next up, going back to the House of Paris Corner with Paris Corner's A Chaos in the Ocean. Now, this is a clone or twist of the Eau de Parisi's Megamar, and I really like this fragrance. This is really well done, this one. Has those citruses in the top. You get the bergamot, the lemon, but you quickly get that cologne, the seaweed that comes through, some ambroxan push as well, some cedar, white musk that's mixed in here. Just an absolutely gorgeous aquatic style of fragrance. Has a real nice saltiness that's there. The seaweed in this gives it a nice kind of green touch. A little bit of sweetness comes through as well, so it kind of has that kind of green floral kind of edge to it, mixing in with that aquatic vibe, a little bit of that brightness from the citruses, and you do get that nice cedar wood, but it's kind of got this like baked driftwood style of cedar wood that's mixing in there, and the white musk just adds some really good sweetness to this one, and the ambroxan just gives it a real nice kind of minerally style of push to this one. Just if you're, it's not going to be for everybody, but if you're into aquatic style of fragrances, this is absolutely fantastic. Really nice balance of some sweet tones, as well as that aquatic kind of green touches with a little bit of wood, just giving it a nice base to this one. Absolutely fantastic fragrance. Projection on this is really good for the first hour and a half. This pushes off well beyond an arm's length before it does settle back in. And I'm getting between 7-8 hours worth of longevity off my skin. Get some on my clothing, and this sticks around into the next day. This really does cling to the clothing when you get it on there. So if you want to push it out a little bit longer, that's what I suggest. So overall, if you're looking for a really nice aquatic style of fragrance, look no further than Paris Corner's A Chaos in the Ocean. All right, last, but certainly not least, going to the House of Lattafa. And it's Lattafa's Assad Zanzibar. Now, this fragrance is a bit divisive. Some people really like this one, some people do not enjoy this one, and I've done a full review on this one. I enjoyed the scent profile. I thought the performance was pretty good on this, but I did give a warning because at the time this was very hyped up and the prices on this were quite high, but this has come down in price now to about $22 at places like Fragrance Buy, and for $22, I think this is an absolute steal of a deal if you're into kind of tropical, coconutty, smoked vanilla style of fragrances with a really nice iris. This is the one for you. Yeah, just a beautiful coconut water iris combination with just a pinch of some black pepper in there. So it gives it this nice kind of tropical feel, a nice kind of cozy, soft texture from that iris with some additional floral sweetness. Little hint of some lavender in there, just give it a bit of a clean aromatic kind of push with that black pepper, just giving it kind of a masculine little punch. As you get towards the dry down, it turns into more kind of a vanillic fragrance, and it has a nice incense in there. So it's this like smoked vanilla style of fragrance, a little bit of coconut kind of tucked in behind that, with that iris riding from that opening to the dry down, giving it a nice soft powdery texture, that additional floral sweetness in there, and that black pepper kind of sticks around, just giving it kind of that masculine edge to this overall, and just it's just a nice tropical beachy style of fragrance, and I absolutely did it because just in the high heat, this just hits for me. This just really pushes off nice, great scent bubble on this one, and it just feels like summer, even though it has like a little bit of a heaviness from that powdery iris. I just really enjoy this one. Performance on this pretty good. First hour and a half, this really does push off before it does settle back in. And I'm getting about 7-8 hours worth of longevity off my skin. Get some of my clothing, and that lasts well into the next day. So performance on this is fantastic. And again, for $22, I think this is a steal of a deal. I really enjoy the scent profile in this one, and I think it's worth checking out. That's Lattafa's Assad Zanzibar. All right, so there you have it. That's 7 stunning summer fragrances to help you beat the heat. But I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite summer fragrances this year? What have you been wearing a lot? What are you really enjoying that we all should know about? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gems, your different tastes and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.